My name is Alvaro Goyanes. I'm from the company FABRX. I have different hats. I'm a pharmacy by training. I'm originally from Spain. I studied pharmacy in Spain. I did my PhD in pharmaceutical technology. So I was working for several years in a pharmacy doing compounding, preparing medicines for patients. But then I decided to go into the research part and I moved into academia. So I did my PhD in pharmaceutical technology, and in 2014 I moved to London, to UCL, University College London, to do research about new ways of making medicines. And at that time, 3D printing was something completely new, still quite new, but at that point it was really new. So after this research, we founded the company FABRX, and I'm one of the co-founders of the company. And our aim was to move this technology from the academia, from the lab to the clinic, and reach pharmacies, reach hospitals, and reach basically patients. I'm here today with my colleagues from Pete Pharma. Pete Pharma is a company from the US, and they are helping us in the introduction of the technology in the US. Dan is talking after me, but I'm going to tell you a bit about this fantastic technology so you can understand what we are able to do with this new technology. So yeah, I'm going to talk about 3D printing, basically our experience in hospitals and compounding pharmacies. As I said, FABRX is a company. The company is based in London, in the UK, but we have a subsidiary company in Spain and another one in the US. So we are a company. We're a small company, but we are all over the world. So I started doing 3D printing in 2014. At that point, no one was doing actually 3D printing of medicines. My aim was to do personalized medicines. When I started doing research about 3D printing, I was giving talks, conferences. I was going to research institutions, and I was saying, like, in the future, we will have 3D printers in hospitals and pharmacies. And everybody was laughing because 3D printing was so new technology that they thought it would be impossible to have a 3D printer in a hospital or a pharmacy and make medicines personalized for the patient. So since 2014 in UCL, we decided we need to move this technology into hospitals and pharmacies. And in 2018, we make this possible. We move a printer into a hospital, and we printed medication for patients, pediatric patients with a rare metabolic disease, that is maple syrup urine disease. That is a rare disease, and these patients, they are not able to metabolize some amino acids, so they have very serious health issues. So we were able to print medication for this patient in chewable formulations like candy with different flavors, different colors, different doses. And the study was very successful. Patients wanted to use this new technology, and was fantastic. So since then, we opened the door to the implementation of 3D printing in hospitals and pharmacies. We started with hospitals because sometimes hospitals have more resources, but our aim is pharmacies, no? Because I'm a pharmacist and I wanted to reach the pharmacies. Since then, in 2020, we launched to the market the first pharmaceutical printer, because the study we did in 2018 was actually with a food printer that was a complete disaster because the software was very complex to use. The printer was not designed to print medicines, was designed to print food. So we developed our own printer, the MediMaker, Medi of medicines and maker of manufacture of medicines. And this was a complete successful. So it was very successful. And since then, we did other clinical studies. We were able to combine in one tablet or one capsule different drugs, increase the amount of drug that we are able to give to the patients, change flavors, colors. And for the first time in 2025, last year, we published the first article where we were printing medication in a pharmacy. So our aim took time, since 2014, but we were able to implement 3D printing in a pharmacy, print different type of medications for patients, and these patients are taking regular medication from pharmacies. Since then, we are doing multiple clinical studies, collaborations with some of the biggest hospitals in the world. Gustav Roussy is the biggest hospital for cancer research in Europe. Great Ormond Street is the biggest pediatric hospital in the UK, in London. Hamburg Hospital is in Germany, Valdebron in Spain. We have printers in other hospitals in the US as well. Someone mentioned St. Jude's, so we are there as well. So our aim is to implement this technology, and we have been working very hard to make this technology safe, reliable, suitable for patients, solving all the bottlenecks that we saw in this way. So right now we are in many different countries. We have a subsidiary company for Europe, FABRX AI. We are also interested in the use of new technologies like artificial intelligence to make better medicines, to predict what is the the best dose for the patient. We have the subsidiary company in the US together with our partners, Pete Pharma, and we have printers in Brazil, Saudi Arabia, India, China, many different countries, and we are adapting this technology to many different partners and many different type of regulations. So we have collaborations with big pharma companies like Pfizer, Lausanne, other companies that we cannot disclose because of confidentiality agreement. We have collaborations with the US Pharmacopoeia, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, many research institutions, best universities. We are doing clinical trials with many hospitals all over the world. And our aim is to implement this with patients. Right now, this technology is considered compounding, and Pete is going to talk more about how this implementation can be done in the US, but it's compounding. It's different type of compounding, but it's compounding. So what we need to do is to make our equipment, our software, USP compliant. So if we are USP compliant, we can implement this technology very easily. So why we need 3D printing? Well, the reality is that each person is different. We have a big population of different type of people with different age, gender, ethnicity, different diseases, different body types, taking different medicines. So we cannot give the same medicines to a big variety of people. We need to personalize the medicine. The only way to give personalized medicines to these people is actually by compounding, what we do in pharmacies. Sometimes compounding has a bad reputation because it's considered like, well, manual labor, labor intense, compared to the industrial standards, industrial medicines. Sometimes they have a better reputation and sometimes are cheaper, and that's true. But compounding solves a very important problem because we need personalized prescription in many cases. So how we make these prescriptions? Through compounding. If there are drug shortages, how are we going to get the medicines to the patients? Through compounding. If we need to prepare medicines in hard to reach areas, compounding is the solution. Or when we are trying to bring a new medicine to the market through clinical trials, we need to make these small batches through compounding. So compounding is essential in pharmacy, and I think it's going to be essential for many years. But our approach is to try to solve some of the problems of compounding. And it's true that there are errors in compounding because it's manual labor. So can we remove this manual labor of compounding and make it automatic? Can we make these medicines following automatic protocols? Can we remove dangers for the pharmacists and the technicians preparing these medicines if this is made automatic with an automatic system? So that's our aim and that's our vision. That what we propose is the use of 3D printing to make personalized medicines. In the video, you can see how 3D printing works. It's an additive manufacturing process where you are adding layers of materials, layer by layer. And if you are adding a drug with excipients, what you are actually printing, the object, is a medicine. And you can make it bigger, smaller, changing the dose with different flavors, colors, shapes. whatever you imagine, you can actually manufacture. So with 3D printing, we are able to automate compounding, make always the same medicine. We can have quality control systems, automatic quality control systems. So these medicines are going to be safer, and we are printing close to the patient. So the medicines are not coming from the other part of the world. No, we print closer to the patient when the patient needs the medicine, and we can make it faster and cheaper, especially for clinical trials as well. So this is our approach, to use this type of 3D printers to make these very innovative medicines that could be chewable tablets, but could be other type of tablets, normal tablets as well. So with 3D printing, we can do this layer by layer approach. Sometimes we print cylinders, but you can print gummy bears or different type of shapes like SpongeBob, whatever you want to print. Especially for children, this is very attractive because you can ask them what color you want the medicine. This is really cool for children. But with the same technology, we can print different type of medication. For example, we can fill capsules. We can have a capsule holder inside the printer, and this capsule holder is on top of a balance because the printer has a balance, and we can dose and fill in the capsules with materials that are liquid when we warm up the material, but then they go to solid. So we print it and it's liquid, but then solidifies very quick. So the capsule at the end is solid. With 3D printing, is a bit slower when we go layer by layer, and we can say that we can print 28 tablets in 10 minutes. But if we do capsule filling, we can print 100 of tablets in 10 minutes. So it's much faster. It's like 2 seconds per capsule, and we can know actually the weight of each individual capsule. But it's not only filling capsules. We can fill blisters, so we can have personalized those inside the blister. So the mold of the blister is what gives the shape to the medicine. And actually, we can combine different drugs in the same medicine as well. So it's as well personalized, not in terms of shape, but in terms of doses and everything else. We can print using molds, like more similar to the traditional troches. And again, we can print with one mold and one pharma ink many different doses, because what we call the pharma ink is the cartridge that we put inside the printer. It's a mixture of drug and excipients. So with the same mixture of drug and excipients that goes in a syringe, we can print many different doses. So with one protocol, we can have a wide range of doses. And we can make troches using the same mold, the same pharma ink, but completely different doses. No? And also with the quality control of the balance. And also, if we use different type of molds, we can make suppositories. We can use a mold of a suppository or a vaginal ring or a vaginal tablet, and we can make this as well, personalized. So this technology is very versatile. 2 or 3 years ago, I would say like, well, it's not ready for implementation. But after so many tests, so many clinical trials, so many involvement of the key leaders in different areas, pharmacy, medicine, different diseases, we think that this technology is actually ready for implementation. Yeah. So how this works for these suppositories? I'm seeing the question. So actually, we use something similar to a base of a suppository that is mixed with the drug. And when the base is melted, everything is liquid together, but then you extrude into the mold and solidify it very quick. So you melt at 40 or 50 degrees Celsius, and then you print and it goes to solid. Yeah. So now I'm going to pass the microphone to my colleague Dan, that is going to show how we can implement this technology in the US and how these printers that you can see here can be implemented in traditional compounding pharmacies, 503A, 503B, to speed up the production of these compounded medicines. Dan, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Alvaro. Appreciate that. So my name is Dan Siddall, co-founder of Pete Pharma. So we've been around about 10 years in the compounding space in one way or another, and I'm excited to partner with FABRX, based out of UK and Spain, and kind of bring their technology to the US compounding market, through a partnership-driven commercial model. Unlike the traditional approaches that you see nowadays that are focused on equipment sales, our strategy is based on a partnership with compounding pharmacies interested in adapting this innovative breakthrough technology. We're doing this through, the decade of clinical research that Dr. Alvaro had talked about in the hospitals, university research centers that FABRX has been working with, and we're commercializing it through a couple of different ways. And our goal is twofold. First, we want to drive operational efficiencies for pharmacies by reducing manual labor, consumable usage, and workflow bottlenecks. Also, we want to enable pharmacies to provide more precise, customizable, and effective compound medications for their patients. So a couple issues we're seeing right now in the US compounding market. One, we're seeing rising operational costs. There's increased labor costs and a shortage of qualified technicians that we're hearing from customers throughout the market. The processes can have issues. The traditional way to compound, it's slow, it's labor intensive, and there's a lot of variability through each technician. You see one technician making, a certain compound one way, and then a different technician doing it the same place, following the same SOP, and it comes out completely different. We're also seeing a higher regulatory scrutiny, from the FDA and USP oversight. And this is just adding additional compliance and documentation burdens for pharmacies, as you guys know. And there honestly hasn't been very much innovation in this space in the last 5 years. As a result, a lot of pharmacies are constraining their ability to scale operations while trying to meet patient demand for new medicines and provide better outcomes for those. If you take a look at the numbers on the right, this is just an example of the progesterone capsule. As you can see, there's quite a bit of the labor savings and also a lower cost of goods sold. And this is done through the, more efficiency and actually a higher quality drug. And you see the savings on the bottom line. And this is done through automation using FABRX's 3D printer. And let's get a little into how automation is going to save you guys money. So first, there's the cost reduction quality. So automation is a better and smarter approach to cost reduction. It's higher reliability. Automation significantly reduces the chances of errors in the business process. It's a higher productivity. Automation provides precise commands, eliminating operator errors or makes them less chances of that. Higher availability. Automation removes the issue of unavailability of workers in the workforce, and also a higher performance. You're going to make a higher quality product every single time. Next. So let's kind of walk through. Alvaro kind of talked about how the 3D printer works, but let's actually talk about how it would fit in your guys' workflow. So again, currently the methodology is you're going to mix your API with our anhydrous-based formula to put in a planetary mixer. But instead of doing, like one capsule batch at a time, maybe up to 300, you can do a month's worth at one time. So this is going to, simplify labor. It's going to simplify cleanup cost. It's going to simplify loss shortages too, because you're doing all this at once. Instead of doing it 9 times a day, you could do it once for the month. Think about how much savings that creates right off the bat. And now once that base and API is mixed together in your formula, again, we have the SOPs for these formalizations for you guys, show you how to mix it. You're going to take your formalization, you're going to put it in a syringe that has a QR code on it. So each syringe is going to have a QR code linking for traceability and what exactly in that. And then you're going to take that syringe, you're going to scan it, the QR code on the FABRX MetaMaker, and then the software. And again, the video will show you guys kind of more in depth on this. I'm just trying to make it as easy as possible for you guys right now. So this loaded syringe is going to pull up, the QR code is going to pull up what the batch is, what the medication is, what mold you should be using, what temperature you need to have it at. And that's all going to be through the software provided with the 3D printer itself. So you're going to click through all that, you're going to hit a button, and then you're going to walk away. And Alvaro mentioned, depending on what medication it is, in this example, we're doing tablets for progesterone. The tablets are going to come out hardened. You can do about 300 in a mold, and you can do that in about 10 to 20 minutes. And with our patent pending technology of the molds, you're going to be able to pop those tablets out and then put them in a pill bottle. So as you see, it's a streamlined workflow process, saving you guys time and money, and also creating a higher, more quality drug. And these tablets, as Alvaro mentioned, liquefy at a very high temperature, so no issues shipping these prescriptions across state lines or higher temperatures. So with that, I kind of give you an idea of how that process works. So our solution is using the validated technology from FABRX in their decade of clinical research. We have our partnership model, which you're going to pay, instead of just getting the equipment and us walking away, we actually are going to help you develop formulations with their proprietary bases for operational efficiency and enhance patient outcomes. And the current method I just talked about is you actually compounding the ink itself. But hopefully within 6 months, you actually will be able to reach out to a pharmaceutical provider and actually get a pre-mixed syringe yourself. Kind of think about it like an Nespresso model, where you grab what flavor you want and strength you want, and you pop it in the machine, and it comes out with a cup of coffee. This is the same thing, only it's going to be with compounded medicines. So you're going to get a pre-filled syringe, you're going to scan that QR code, you're going to know what mold to use, what medication it is, what temperature to go to. You're going to hit a button, it's going to print, you're going to walk away. You can do other things you need to, maybe clean up other things or work on other medications, and you're good to go. All right. So quality control, I kind of mentioned it before. Alvaro's touched on it before. So 3 different quality controls. So you have the balance itself, which measures every pill, tablet printed. So you can see everything with quality control. It will light up green. If it's not, it'll light up red. So you'll know each pill is the way it should be. There's also a pressure sensor on this that pushes the syringe down. So it's being controlled by how much liquid is being released. And then their near infrared sensor, again, is watching and measuring each pill. So not only the weight, but can actually see it itself. So here's a quick video of kind of the walkthrough of the process. So obviously that was compounding. Now you're getting a quick look at the software itself, printed out the QR code on the syringe, popping the syringe in the 3D printer. There's how many you're choosing how many dosage to print over there, confirming it with the different molds too, and then it prints out. And you can see the monitoring right there. If it's green, it means it's in the amount it should be. And then this is just the printouts you can get with SOP. And there we go. So we actually have done a case study with a hospital out of Spain that actually reduced workflow by 70%. So we know it's possible. We're seeing a reduced manual labor, a cost reduction in the medicine, and you're preparing thousands of tablets a day with one worker and one operator. You're not mixing over and over and over. You're mixing once, and you have all you need for the month. All right, so here's a little, I guess, onboarding roadmap. So first phase, we're gonna see if you're right for the partnership. We're gonna see what you guys are making, what issues you're having, if you want to be a leader in this model. We're gonna evaluate and confirm your highest value market compounding preparations and develop 5 print-ready formulations for you. If we don't already have them, we're gonna help you develop them. For phase 2, in month 2, you're going to begin printing selected formulations. So the software will be integrated with your guys' system. You're going to have batch logging and traceability. And then phase 3 is we're going to see how the patients are reacting to the medicine, any feedback from you guys, and then reevaluating any formulations we made or adding to formulations. So again, what we see the difference is we're making a partnership model. We're not going to do well unless you guys do well. We're not going to sell you a piece of equipment, let it sit there, not help you through it. Compared to competitors out there, I know we have a better product and a better pricing, and our method is to work with you guys on a partnership model where we don't do well unless you do well. Yeah, and that's all I got for now. Thank you, guys.
All right.
We're happy to answer questions.
Yeah, we've definitely got some questions here, but I feel like it's even more advanced than when we met a couple months ago. Like it just keeps advancing with all of this. It's incredible. If you have any questions for Alvaro or Dan, please go ahead and drop them in the chat. Excuse me. Jessica, I know you've been tracking some of those. Can you? Oh, you've already done it. She already sent them over to me. So one of the questions that came in was regarding the regulatory guidelines under the FDA. Any feedback on that?
Yeah, well, this goes under compounding regulation. So the FDA doesn't have like proper guidelines. We need to follow the USP guidelines. Our aim is to work, and we have discussions with the USP to bring specific guidelines if needed. But right now, we are following the USP guidelines. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we are working with each state board to make sure we are at the forefront of this, to make sure they understand what we're doing, because this is such new technology. They don't have any rules or regulations, laws written around this. So we've reached out to each state board to work with them to make sure that everything is above board and they actually understand what we're doing and try to write the laws with them.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are definitely in uncharted territory here with this. So, another question came in about the average turnaround time from start to finish.
So it just depends on what you're making. Each one is different. As Alvaro mentioned, the tablets, I think we do about 300 in a mold, and that takes up maybe 10 to 20 minutes. Again, it depends on the formulation, the size of the pills, like what you're doing with it. But the extrusion method is very, very fast, 2 seconds per tablet. Obviously, if you're 3D printing, which Alvaro talked a little bit about, that's takes a little longer per tablet. But for what we're introducing on the kind of this commercial side for compounding, it's more going to be on the extrusion method and not necessarily 3D printing.
Gotcha. What's the human component in maintenance, setup, etc., and how much time are current employees spending on getting and keeping it functioning?
Do you want to take that one, Alvaro?
Yeah, so it's very simple. There is obviously a training. The training is the most important part because we spend a bit of time explaining the basic process, but then the whole process is following protocols. The protocols are in the software, so it's just necessary to follow SOPs. We have SOPs for cleaning, we have SOPs for different medicines. So it's quite simple. So it's not necessary to have a specific knowledge or idea about different softwares or 3D modeling or things like that. It's just basically select the dose and print.
We got another question asking about, does the equipment maintain temperature for the suppository base? I guess for all of them, like when you set that, does it just keep it consistent?
Exactly, yeah. So the print heads have a temperature control. So depending on the formulations, you print at different temperatures like 50, 40, 70, depends on the drugs, on the excipients. Yeah, but that's very important to keep the temperature.
So there's with that, there's actually two heating mechanisms. There's one in the print head itself, and there's one actually inside the printer. So you could be warming up a syringe as one's printing. And then there's also an external heating mechanism too that we were working on where you can heat up 6 syringes at once.
I think it's incredible what you guys are doing with printers when like we're still trying to figure out how to not get labels stuck in printers just for like regular medications. And here you guys have mastered this technology to actually make the medications. Another question came in about the bases. Can you use any base? Or Dan, I know you tell us a little bit more about the bases that you have.
So the bases we're developing are anhydrous, and excuse me, can't say that word, but so you have 6-month BUD on everything we make. So we would prefer to use our formulations because they are developed basically developed for this 3D printer. And not all bases are going to work with the 3D printer itself. So our formulations are usually developed or are developed with our bases. And I know our bases are about 1/4 the cost of other 3D printer bases and actually are cheaper than current base prices out there. So again, we're not looking, you know, we want to work with you guys. We want, with our partnership model and our licensing, we want your cost of goods to be low because we don't make any money unless you guys are making money on a per prescription basis. So that's kind of our licensing model is based off on the profit you make on each prescription, not on top line revenue, not on just buying the printer from us. We're an actual partnership.
Do you see, or I guess, what do you see as the potential in the partnerships with the drug manufacturers too? I could picture pharmacies, you know, just buying medications from the drug companies and then being able to implement it with this.
As far as like actives, or are you talking about just like full?
Yeah, like in the future.
Yeah. So I guess the actives, the pharmacies will still be, you would still be buying the actives from your current suppliers. We would just be providing the basis excipients for this.
Okay. So the actives would come from any regular vendor.
Yes. Good question.
Awesome. We had another question about the solution. Is it a liquid or a suspension?
Can be both, depending on the amount of drugs that you have. The concentration of the drug inside the syringe could be a suspension or could be a solution. Obviously, when we make the protocols, what we check is the stability, the dissolution, the stability in terms of how long is the formulation stable after printing, and also the printing stability of the printing process. So what we do is we validate the printing process before sharing any type of formulation with anyone. We validate the formulation. So if the formulation is a suspension, we are sure that there is no segregation or any problem, but could be a suspension as well.
So does that mean, so it doesn't have to harden then? So like you could use that to fill like oil suspension capsules?
Could be as well. But
Yeah.
when I was thinking about suspension, I was thinking about solid suspension, like the particles are not completely dissolved in the matrix when are liquid, but then when they solidified, there could be solid suspension as well. They don't need to be completely dissolved in the liquid when it's melted. But it's possible to print suspension like oils and things like that inside capsules. That's something possible as well.
Okay, fantastic. We've got quite a bit of questions here, and we've got plenty of time. So I want to encourage everyone, please drop your questions in the chat. We're going to get through all of them. I do want to throw out there as well, in case anyone has to jet off. I wanted to do some kind of giveaway since I want everyone to see this. I think it's just the most incredible thing. So Jessica, if you can drop the little suggestion, but if you guys will go on to your social network, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever it is, with your colleagues, and just like let everyone know that you attended this webinar and saw this incredible technology. We're going to make access where people can, if they couldn't attend live, they can still see it on demand. So there'll be a registration there. And it doesn't have to be this, but, post something online. And if you tag NPTA and FABRX both in that, we're gonna choose one at random for an Amazon gift card because we just want to get this information out there. Let's see. Okay, next question. How do you control the API phase transformation when working with polymorph?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we follow always the same protocol, the same SOP. So we manufacture the pharma ink in the same way, and we analyze the pharma ink. We do X-ray powder diffraction, DSC, differential scanning, calorimetry to know what type of polymorph we get. And we try to print also in different conditions to see if there are changes in polymorphs. And then we do the quality control, dissolution test to check that it's still immediate release or sustained release, and to evaluate if there are effects of the change in polymorphs. So we almost do like validation when you want to submit a new medicine to the FDA, something similar to that, not to that extent, but we validate the whole process just to say, well, this formulation is safe, there is no degradation, this is stable for 3 months. Even if the formulation is going to be given just for 1 month, we check at least 3 or 6 months stability. And we want to be sure that this technology works and this formulation works. We don't want just to mix drug and excipients and give it to the pharmacy. So if we share a formulation with the pharmacy or pharmacies share formulations between them, we need to be sure that everything is safe.
Right. This is a great question that came in from Don. What does cleaning the machine look like?
And I can go down.
Yeah, you got it. I'll let you go.
So cleaning, there are many different 3D printing technologies. When we started evaluating the 3D printing technologies, for us, cleaning was the priority because we cannot have a technology where you have a powder around and where you have like something that is difficult to clean. So in this case, cleaning, all the parts that are in contact with the formulation are disposable. So basically the syringe and the tip of the syringe, you remove it and you can put a new one and everything is clean. The base where you print, the blister or the capsule holder, everything is something that you can remove, put it in the washing machine, sorry, not washing machine, in the dishwasher, better, and you can clean it and wash it in an easy way. So the validation of the cleaning process is very simple. We always recommend to clean with isopropanol or Esporox, these commercial materials to clean the printer from outside, but that's all. It's very simple, and we have validated protocols for the drugs.
Fantastic. We've got a question from Brenda Jensen. Brenda, hello. Long time friend, amazing technician, compounding pharmacy owner. She's a total rock star. I did not see you in the chat earlier, Brenda, but um, Brenda Jensen. I was thinking Brenda Pavlik. Brenda Jensen is Miss USP, sterile compounding expert. Well, I don't know what I was thinking, but so welcome to you, Brenda, also. Her question came in, how do you ensure uniformity of the API in the anhydrous-based solution? Are there APIs that can't be used, for example, those with low solubility?
Yeah, I can answer to this. Again, this goes in the formulation development process. So we identify the drug with those requirements, and we mix with a range of excipients. We evaluate which one is the best excipient for this drug. We check that it prints well, stable, and everything. So then we need to follow the protocol, the SOP. Not all the drugs work with all the excipients. That's why we have a range of excipients that we select for specific drugs. And also depending if we want immediate release or something that is chewable or something that is hard or is for filling capsules, we have different excipients. Never happened that we found a drug that we are not able to print. We were able to print biological drugs like antibodies, even cells. So we always find the right excipient, but there is no, if someone says, oh, with this excipient you can print all the drugs, that's not true. So we work with the best excipients to get the best formulation.
Fantastic. All right, our next question came in from Tracy. How would bulk processing work for a hospital setting where patients are on different drugs?
Do you want to take that one, Alvaro?
Yeah, I can go. Yeah, so our approach and what they do in some hospitals, instead of preparing each day pharma ink and print each day, what they do is they prepare pharma ink, several syringes one day, and they keep the syringes in a fridge or in a storage area, depending on the formulation. And then whenever they need to print, they just take the syringe, print, and keep the syringe again. So that's much faster than mixing. So they do the mixing only once a month or once every 3 months, and that's much faster and simpler. So you have the pharma inks already prepared. The pharma inks is the cartridge, the mixture of drug and excipients. What Dan mentioned is that Pete Pharma is going to provide these pharma inks, these capsules in the future, like an espresso model. And then it's even faster because if you don't have the pharma ink, you order the pharma ink, you get the pharma ink, next day delivery or same day, and you print, and that's all. So the time saving is very big because the printing process is very simple.
Gotcha. All right. Next question came from Lupe. For someone to participate, where should one sign up to see if they qualify? And is there a preference for retail versus hospital setting? Does it matter if the pharmacy is a for-profit, nonprofit?
No, I don't think so. So you can why don't you email us, Dan at Pete Pharma and info@fabrx.co.uk. Dr. Alvaro is more on like the hospital, the research, the clinical research side. I'm more on the commercialization, the compounding pharmacies. But you could email us both, and then we will just reach out to you with follow-up. So yeah, I think that's probably the best way to get a hold of us is just email.
Okay, so there's not like a specific form or something they need to fill out. Just reach out to you.
Yeah, we just will have an intro call. I mean, if in the email, just tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from and what you're looking to do, and then we can reach out to you, divide and conquer on who's going to reach out. So
fantastic.
We are very versatile in terms of working with people. So what we are aiming for is for real implementation and treat patients with the best medication.
Yeah, it's got applications kind of across the board here. I feel like we've probably addressed this question, but is there anything else you would want to add? We had a question about what about the stability of the drugs, but again, I feel like we've covered that pretty well, unless you have anything you want to add.
No, the stability is critical, and obviously we don't mix drug and excipients and give it to the patient. We do a development earlier. It's very important that you prove that when you print, the drug is stable, because some drugs, if you print at 70 degrees, are not stable. So you need to print maybe at 40 degrees or change excipients. So we evaluate that. And then after printing, how long the formulations are stable for. So we evaluate that at different temperatures, at different humidities, so following the regulation.
All right. Chris asked if this technology can be used to compound controlled medications, or are there restrictions with that?
Yeah, we printed many different type of drugs, controlled medication, I think methadone as well, opioids. So yeah, any type of drug.
No restrictions.
And then looks like the last question we have, unless anyone has anything else to add, came in from Assam, and who said, firstly, thank you for the webinar and learning about all this. Their question is, which scenario is more likely to be in the future of 3D printing? Is it that the inks will be formulated in the place of printing, or supplied from manufacturers?
I think it's both. It just really depends. Sorry, Dr. Alvaro, I stepped in, but I think it's both. It just really depends on, your need, each pharmacy's need of the different types of active drugs and how many they go through in, a week, a month, a year, versus not that high need. So I think it's some places it'll be always they're going to compound by hand and then put them in the 3D printer, the syringe. And then some with high value that they're doing a lot of, they're going to find it a lot more worth the while in cost savings if they're ordering from a pharmaceutical manufacturer and just popping that syringe in. So I think there'll always be both. I don't think it's always going to be one way or the other.
All right.
Well, and I mentioned too, like you said, controlled substances, hazardous and non-hazardous too in this. So just
okay,
there too.
no limitations there. Well, that is all the questions we have. We will be sending out, it'll take a day or two to edit the webinars down, but we will be sending out a link to the on-demand recording of that, of the session to everyone. Again, I want to encourage you, be sure and go on social, let people know what you just saw. If you're like me, the first time I saw it, like your head's a little bit blown. And I think this is really exciting and stuff that's worthwhile to share with everyone out there in our networks. And if you just tag NPTA and FABRX, we'll choose someone at random for that giveaway. But we just want to get everybody to have access to this. Encourage you to follow both Dan and Dr. Alvaro on LinkedIn, and reach out to them if you have any questions. Let your pharmacy manager know about it, owners, whoever it is. This is really, really exciting stuff. So, gentlemen, thank you both again so much for taking time to share this information with our audience today. It's been great.
Thank you for the opportunity. Our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you guys very much. This is great. Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you all soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.